Hello everyone. Welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. We are here. It is the Brazilian Grand Prix. It is the 21st round for the club division. And it is the final Brazilian Grand Prix of the week. And joining me for the club division, as always, Unicorn. It's Friday. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing very well. I'm very excited for this one. Not only have we got another Brazilian Grand Prix on our hands, obviously the penultimate round for all divisions, but this one, the championship running, is really coming down to the one. We got three drivers still battling out for that top spot, so I'm very excited to see how they all go around here in Brazil.
They are absolutely locked and loaded, those three at the top, of course. 15 turns here, 4.3 kilometers around Sao Paulo. Let's take a look at who is on the grid after we just take a look really quick at the calendar because, of course, we are on the penultimate round of Season 3 MRL action, and it is the 21st round, December 11th. Today is the day, and, of course, next week it is Abu Dhabi. Big up to Mr. Ben the Bear in the chat. Thank you very much for your prime. Of course, Ben the Bear not able to really get himself into a solid top 3 position, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's look at the, of course, teams on this grid. ZZ9, who is very, very high up in that championship that we'll go through in just a moment. Fraser, his teammate over at Mercedes. It's Alex Biddo and Bottas Gang over at Ferrari. Bottas Gang replacing Distinctive. Ben the Bear, Remco Van Putten over at Red Bull. Mito and Burke for McLaren. It's Seb and Zamis over at Renault. I do believe Zamis is absent today. Freer and Finn over at AlphaTauri. Burke, Khan, and Jones over at Racing Point with Shenjay and Money for Alfa Romeo. Tillman Severt, Gianakari at Haas. Domi and Mammal for Williams. And let's take a look at how these standings have really shaped up this season. Unicorn, ZZ9, as I mentioned, the first driver name on that 20 driver roster. 278 points, leading Shenjay by 6 in lead of this championship, and this one's going to be going down to the wire. I can only imagine. I think if he gets a race win today and fastest lap, I think he's good, right? He should be good.
If he just gets a race win.
Yeah, if he gets a race win, he's good. Yeah, he's good. Shenjay, he's 6 points behind, so ZZ9 really under a lot of pressure today. Alex Biddo, he's right there, 7 points behind Shenjay. He had a tough outing last week. But yeah, Mercedes, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, your top 3. Gianakari, he took 2 penalty points and 5 seconds for ignoring blue flags last week. And that is all the stewards have to say on that. Now, with all that being said, I do believe you're just about to go racing.
Yeah. I think we are, but yeah, the title fight, I think the constructors as well, I think that can be wrapped up a little bit easier. Mercedes, I believe, Fraser's told me that they only need 11 or 12 points to secure the constructors championship, so we could see Mercedes walk away victorious in the constructors standings, but yeah, ZZ9, like you said, if he wins, he secures the drivers. Alex Biddo needs to be within... If he beats Alex by 14 points, I think that puts Alex out of the championship runnings. So Alex needs a good race here if he wants any hopes of stealing the title in Abu Dhabi next week. But it's all very reliant on what happens to ZZ9, Shenjay, and Alex Biddo. Those are the 3 we're going to be watching. Obviously, Ben the Bear, he is here. We just mentioned it briefly there. He isn't able to win this championship, but he's got 5 wins under his belt this season. He's really been a thorn in his side. He's got more wins than ZZ9 and Alex Biddo. He's tied Shenjay for wins, so he might not be able to win the Drivers' Championship, but he'll sure as hell be looking for a win here around Brazil to maybe get the most wins in the season for a single individual.
Definitely going to be an interesting finale to this season. Very interesting finale to this season. Brazil, the penultimate round, always setting up iconic results, and we've had now 4 races around the circuit this week. We've had EU, we had the Oceanic, which will be coming out later on YouTube, and then we have the Tier 2 and Tier 1 races where you can find the replays on the YouTube now, and all of those races action-packed. We've got nice sunny skies here in the qualifying. 18 minutes is the duration of the qualifying session. These drivers will be facing 17 drivers on the grid. Bottas Gang, Remco Van Putten, entirely sure who that Alfa Romeo is. The name escaping me. Burke Khan, Wavy in 5th, King in 6th, Ben the Bear in 7th, Domi in 8th on the timing tower at the moment, Fraser 9th, Freeware in 10th, DZ9, Mikau is here in a reserve capacity, Finn, 13th position on this grid, Shenjie 14th, we have Seb, Neon, and Bido as well, and we are being told it's going to be a full wet race to dry compound tires. That's going to be one heck of a drive. So if we see full wets into dries, oh man, isn't that going to be a dynamic? We could see blue, green, and, well, a variety of different tires. It's a long race around here, Unicorn. 36 laps, of course.
Yeah, I think the blue, green, or probably red, given the the 50% nature of this race, is what we're gonna be expecting here. It is gonna be starting full wet, and then it will transition. Rather than just stopping, it will go to light rain and then dry. I understand. So this could be a very, very interesting way to round out the Brazilian Grand Prix here. And, well, what setup do you go for? Do you go for the dry setup? Get a fast lap in qualifying and be fast at the end of that race? Or do you adjust it slightly, tailor it for more wet conditions so that you're fast at the start of the race? You would be slower in qualifying, you'd be slower at the end of the race. But that is a very, very difficult, strategy to come up with, and they've only got a few minutes to make that decision. Many of them have already made it. It would seem they're already out on track. Park Ferme obviously in effect, and Domi has already started a flying lap.
Coming through turn 1, turn 2, and 3. Senna S, and one thing to talk about here is the first time you and I ever commentated Brazil was Shenjie and Ben the Bear on the grid. Of course, that was back in the CFR days, but now we're here, MRL Club, 21st round, and wouldn't it be something else to see those two do a dance in some dynamic conditions? Ben the Bear, we know how him and Shenjie went around here the last time, and it was a thrilling race, and it was a battle of penalties, I think, in the end for that. But Domi now in this Williams, he's going to be showing us what it takes to really get the car on pole position right now. We've seen him fly all season long. Not entirely sure what input he's using today. Could be wheel, could be pad. He likes to switch between the two depending on what he's feeling. Speed for pad, practice for wheel, and there goes a 106.667 right out the gate from the Williams. Wavy next across the line, a 107.468. So you can already see a major differential, 8/10 the gap.
Yeah, I imagine Domi will be on pad, obviously stronger on the pad than he is elsewhere. Alex Bido 106.8. His teammate beats that by a 10th. Bottas gang. Shenjie 106.9. So that puts him 5th at the moment. Freeway 106.7. The times are really starting to fly in now, but Domi is, he's locked in a battle as well. He needs to defend from Bottas gang this race to avoid dropping to him in the championship. The championship really is very tight at various points around this. And, well, Ben's invalidated his first attempt at a flyer and very early on in his lap, so not how he wants to be opening here this afternoon. Obviously, everyone will be qualifying on the stock compound tyres, given that we will have a wet race at the start. So we'll have to see how that impacts things. Ben pulls off here to let one of the Mercedes by.
Remco Van Putten in the other Red Bull flying right now. Ben the Bear, obviously that invalidated lap, not able to do anything, letting drivers through, but Remco Van Putten wanting to put some serious pace onto that timing tower in the form of a solid lap time here, and it's coming through sector 2, and this is a very tricky bit of circuit in the wet. We had a little bit of wet running yesterday in our Tier 1 race.
Yeah,
off to the side there. Remco through.
There's a few drivers here that have this invalid lap at the moment, so that could lead to penalties, especially in the wet weather.
Remco to the line now, P8, a 107.168, the time from the Dutchman. Neon back in a reserve capacity. The other Dutchman on the grid now, 107.971 was his best time so far. And the Bear is flying again into turn 4, and he has set a purple sector 1 here, Unicorn.
Yeah, Bottas gang as well. He's still putting laps in, and he's just at a fastest sector 2, so this could be an interesting time for the Ferrari, who's flying through sector 3 and out, coming through the penultimate turn up towards the line. He's not going to pit. He has invalidated his last lap. Not this time, though. It's a 106.625, just a couple of hundredths ahead of Domi's best time to give himself provisional pole. But like you said, Ben the Bear just sets a fastest sector 2. Hasn't set a time yet, so nothing to compare it to, but you have to imagine that when this man is on a qualifying lap, it's going to be up at the top of the timing tower as he comes now out of the final turn down towards the line, and there it is, a 106.430, 2/10 clear of Bottas gang's last attempt. So a very, very nice lap from him, and I'm sure it will only get faster as we move into the later stages of qualifying.
Finn jumps into 14th, a 108.382, his best attempt thus far. King, Ricky Khan, the 2 racing points, not yet setting times. Mikau, not yet getting a time on the board either. And they are all presently on outlaps. Mikau will be the first of the 3 of them to go for a run. Domi, he's just begun a new flyer. He's looking to improve on a 106.667 coming into turn 4. Utilizing that DRS zone, of course, and he will be in the Williams as we're used to seeing him in Tier 2 as well. Domi now the reigning Tier 2 Season 3 MRL champ. Congrats to him, and going to continue to improve and practice as best he can leading into Season 4, it would seem, as a reserve in these other divisions. So no break for him.
Yeah, he really, he is present in a lot of the races that we watch, whether it is a main driver or a reserve. He's very, very active on all the grids, and like you said, that just makes you a better driver. More in-race experience can only mean good things for someone, so he's just getting faster and faster, like you say, prepping for next season. So he's already won Tier 2 this season. You've got to imagine he'll be a force to be reckoned with in the next, as well as Mikau now into the final sector in the McLaren. Let's see what he can produce on his first flying lap.
Well, Bitto just crossed with an improvement, but so did Freeware. He goes a 106.583, and then Mikau jumps in a 107 flat. P8 for him, the Australian in the McLaren.
Ooh. The get back in the Alfa Romeo, he's had an issue through Sector 2, and interesting enough, he is on the medium compound tyres. Very, very interesting strategy for him, because obviously we have got that rain, so whether he hasn't, realised that there is going to be rain at the start of this race. Neon as well, in the other McLaren, is off in the grass. He's having to wait for a lot of traffic to come past, so a few drivers really struggling at the moment. S King on a flyer in the racing point, or he was, he's now 5th, or 1.6, but I think he's aborted this, whether he was just using a bit of battery to get around the first half of the lap a little bit faster.
ZZ9 in the Mercedes is now flying, and he's just coming through into Sector 2, and something that he really needs to do is get ahead of, well, Shenjay and Alex Bitto. ZZ9 needs a win in order to clinch the championship here in Club Division today. So he has quite a fair amount on the line, because he wins this, it's done. He doesn't, it goes to Abu Dhabi, and that is a race in itself that will present, I'm sure, plenty of challenges for this grid. He's getting that toe that he's been getting all season long out of Fraser. Is it enough? It's P4. And when you have drivers like Ben the Bear setting a 106.430, nearly 2/10 ahead of ZZ9, it really makes you wish Ben the Bear didn't get out of bed to come and drive this. Literally. Remco now. He improves, but just marginally. It's a 300th improvement out of the Red Bull.
Yeah, and in terms of the constructors, that's just what Mercedes want, because I think in order to win the constructors here, or to have any chance at winning the constructors, Red Bull need a 1-2 with fastest lap in both of the final races. So Mercedes looking pretty confident coming into this, and Remco qualifying out of the points is going to be music to their ears. But we've got to remember that this is going to be a wet start to this race. So, Ben the Bear, Domi, they could be running dry setups to get themselves there. Maybe, the Alex Villas and Shenjays on this grid who we've seen fight at the top all season long. They're the ones gunning for the championship positions. Maybe they've altered their setup to give them a bit more of an advantage in that wet scenario, but now in the dry, it's hurting them a little bit as Ben now, on another flyer, is running down to the line. The Red Bull, he improves to 106.2 this time for him.
That's huge. That's a huge improvement. 2.5 tenths over the Hungarian of Domi. And if he's 2.5 tenths over the Hungarian of Domi, that puts him just shy of 3.5 ahead of ZZ9, Alex Bitto in the Ferrari. He is a driver that is going to be looking to get ahead of ZZ9 in this race at all costs. He has two very, very intense and pressurized races ahead of him. He has just dropped a lap coming into turn 4. Not entirely sure what he's done there. Maybe he wasn't happy with his exit out of the S, wants to go again.
Yeah, Domi's on a flyer as well, looking to improve upon that 106.5. And there are a lot of drivers right now vying for this top spot. The grid very close right now. 2nd through 7th is encompassed in 2 tenths right now on that timing tower. So that gives you an idea of just how close this has been. But Domi comes into the pit lane, drops the lap. It was valid, but
Rear behind him, however, not dropping the lap. He's on a charge. Is he able to do anything about those pole sitters? He's able to do something about Domi. What's the gap to him? And 130 the gap for Freeware. So just a tenth, 300ths. Vito now has began a flyer. He's coming out of the S.
Yeah, he's still going a little bit of a traction slide out of turn 2, but nothing he couldn't handle. He's soldiering on with it, but you can see there only a very, very slight improvement through sector 1, but plenty of time to gain through sector 2 and 3 for someone like Alex Biddo, I would imagine.
His teammate
coming to those final 5 minutes as well.
Teammate Bottas getting gearing up for a solid tow here. Well, we'll be looking to follow him. This could be very good for the Scuderia.
Seb in the Renault seems to have had an issue. Obviously can't go on board with a retired car, but it looks like he might have crashed out of turn 3. So very unfortunate for him there, but all eyes right now on Alex as he flies down towards the line.
Curious to see when Shenjay goes out here, but all eyes on the Ferrari now. Alex to the line, he improves. Nearly a tenth. Bottas gang has now begun his lap behind Alex Bitto in the runoff now, giving him a clean run out.
Yeah, and like I said, we are in this final 5 minutes, so this is where, this timing tower is about to switch from pit to outlap to a lot of these drivers. You imagine they're going to start pouring out onto the track, get those final runs in when the track is at its most optimum.
Gap right now from first all the way down to 13th position is less than 9 tenths. From first all the way to 8th position, less than half a second. That's tight, especially around a circuit like Brazil.
We've seen it all week long, the DLRS trains around here and just the trains in general because of how difficult it is to overtake. As Bottas gang now, he crosses the line. It's a 3/10 improvement that puts him 2nd right now. Half a tenth off of Ben the Bear's time. That is very, very impressive out of the Ferrari.
Remco van
Domi's in
Booten,
front of his flyer.
he's on quite an improvement. He's about to cross the line. What's he able to do? The Dutchman, just 3/4 of a tenth, I guess we can say. is what he improves by here, but it's not enough to really get him anywhere. I thought he was on for a little bit more, and it really goes to show that this grid very rapid at the moment.
Yeah, Mikkel's on a fly now as well. See what he can do in the McLaren. Like I said, Domi invalidated his last attempt at one, and now you got the likes of Ben on an outlap. Fraser's just started a flyer as well, so 106.2 to beat. How many drivers are going to be able to beat it? Is Ben going to be able to improve and secure that top spot? Mikkel now about to cross the timing line out of Sector 2. He's on for a pretty huge improvement.
That would be very nice.
There is a little bit of a gap, though. There is a bit of a gap between Shenji and Wavy, though, so he might not jump as high as he'd like here.
Well, it all depends on what he pulls out of Sector 3. He gets Wavy, but yeah, he's just without a range of Shenji 700's the difference.
S-King, he's invalidated his attempt to fly. I think you've got time for one more around here, but Ben, Fraser, ZZ9 Fraser's invalidated again here. He's really seeming struggling with these track limits. He told me before the race he hasn't had too much practice, but track limits really proving difficult for him. Ben's on for a very slight improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. And when you're already on the top, you've only got yourself to beat.
Ooh, Ben the Bear, he improves even further. A 106.193 out of the Red Bull. What a lap from him. Domi is looking to improve. Bottas Gang pulled off to the inside just ahead of him. He's on an outlap as well. So Bottas Gang looking to improve already. Once again, he's on a fresh set. Everyone looking for that super evolved track after it gets rubbered in.
Yeah, ZZ9 looks set to take Domi here for 4th place as he comes to the line. He doesn't. He's lost it all through Sector 3. A very, very slight 1/10 improvement, but he did lose a bit of time through the 3rd sector. Shenji's on a fly, but he's down on his previous best, so not looking too good for him at the moment in the upper mount. Oh, he's found a lot of time, though. So, Sector 1. Shenji to the line. 4th place for Shenji. Very nicely done for him. That keeps his championship. No, I hope a little bit more alive. He's 2nd right now in the standings. He's now ahead of both of his rivals, ZZ9 and Alex Bido. Speaking of the Spaniard, he's flying through the 2nd sector. Just coming out of turn 9 then in the Ferrari. Crossing the timing line, what is the improvement, if any? It's 1/10 for Alex. This could see him put himself ahead of ZZ9, and if he finds time through the 3rd sector, he could get Domi as well. Shenji, a little bit out of reach at the moment, but it all depends on this final sector for Alex. 4th place, he does. He beats both Shenji and ZZ9. Domi as well to boot.
Very nice.
That is very nice for him.
Very nice time from him. And into the pit lane. Well,
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it for our quali right there. Ben the Bear, pole position a 106.193. Bottas Gang lines up next to him a 106.317. Not entirely sure how Bottas Gang retired there. Freeware 106.327. He's just a 100th off of Bottas Gang. 100th behind that Ferrari. We got rain coming. Heavy rain from what we've been told. Bido there 4th, Shenji in 5th. Oh, it's going to be a spicy race.
Yeah, and the 3 drivers in that championship battle will be reversed here. ZZ9 leading the constructors is below both Shenji and Alex Bido, so very exciting.
Ben the Bear, pole position. The Red Bull, a 106.193. Bottas gang in the Ferrari, a 106.317. Freeware collects that third spot. The AlphaTauri, a 106.327. Just a hundredth of a second off of Bottas gang. The separation on the front row is a 10th. Bido in the other Ferrari, he's fourth. Shenjie rounds out your top 5 here ahead of the 21st round of Club Division. There's currently a serious championship battle between ZZ9, Shenjie, and Alex Bido. If ZZ9 wins this race, he wins the title. If he loses, we go to Abu Dhabi. And oh, it's heavy rain, all right.
That is... We've seen it. We've seen rain already around here, but we saw it.
We haven't seen heavy rain.
Tuesday's race, yeah. On Tuesday's race, we were like, surely we're going to get to the stage of the wet weather tyres, but we never saw them. We never really got off of the intermediates. A few tried, but the rain continued. The track never really got to that stage, though. How quickly does it dry here around Brazil? It takes a while to get, wet enough for the wet compound tyres. How quickly does it dry? Because the rain is forecast to stop at some point, get lighter, and then stop. So how long until we see the track dry up enough, maybe for inters, maybe even for dry compounds as well?
Well, that's exactly it. And this is going to give us, I think, these are some of my favorite races. And the reason being is it's all about the degradation. It's about the feel. Because you have these super wet conditions. And we've been told now you're going to go to dry conditions. But by the time you potentially get to those dry conditions, you're going to have the wear on those tires. And you're going to have a little bit of a tricky time really distinguishing, hey, is it the tire wear that I'm feeling right now? Is it the tire wear? Or is it the circuit drying up? And, how does this feel? So these races, they always present these super, super unique dynamics. But before we jump into that, let's go through the grid once again. We have Ben the Bear on pole, lining up next to him on the front row. Bottas gang, Freeware there in third, Bido fourth. Shenjie in fifth, Domi in sixth, ZZ9 7th, King in 8th, Mikau in 9th. We have Wavy in 10th. Remco Van Putten in 11th. Seb 12th position. Get Back 13th. Neon 14th position. Finn 15th. Fraser 16th. And Berke Khan in the Racing Point bringing up the rear of the grid. So, everyone on these full wet tires, let's get those predictions in the chat. We want to know about safety cars because things are going to get intense really quick into turn 1 here.
Yeah, the championship standings would be very, very interesting if those stunts finish like this, because Alex Bido would put himself right between... Well, he'd get 12 points if he finished fourth, which would put him around where Shenjie and ZZ9 are now, and obviously Shenjie and ZZ9 would pick up a few points each. I think if it finished like this, actually, Shenjie would lead us into Abu Dhabi, but obviously everything can change over the course of a race, and a race as dynamic as this, I would be very surprised if it didn't change.
Well, I want to see wets, I want to see inters, I want to see dries. Let's have it all and let's have a fun time. It's the final time, Unicorn, for Brazil this week. Take us away, racing in Sao Paulo.
Well, here we go. We've got 5 red lights and away we go. Very, very short lighting sequence there. And it looks like Freeware might have had an excellent start. Or, well, it's Bottas game who's got a very poor start, actually. He's got a terrible start off the line. So,
both
Freeware
Ferraris
is up into P2. Yeah, the 2 Ferraris, the timing tower.
Well, they had a big shake. Oh, there's been a tap. Oh,
is that Bottas going on Alex
that's Bido.
It's out of it.
Oh, he's almost reversed into the rear of
ZZ9's off as well, though.
Oh, that's crucial for Alex.
Where's Shenjie? Shenjie's up in 5th.
Oh, Shenjie is going to be so happy about this. The rain already giving these drivers a problem. The timing tower giving us an even bigger problem. Not really giving us a clear picture of what's going on. But one thing I can tell you for certain, Ben the Bear, Freeware, and Domi are your top 3 right now. Ben the Bear in that Red Bull leading this race. He's got Freeware right behind him. In that AlphaTauri, of course, Domi, the Williams, and then Bottas gang. He had a shaky start. Both Ferraris had a bit of an issue off the line. Right now, Wavy, Remco Van Putten, they're doing the dance, and that's Remco. 7th position for him. He's already made up 4 slots in this race. Fraser's up 7. And this has been such a dynamic race start in these conditions. I don't think anybody was expecting the lack of grip that they're getting right now. Burke, Khan, Seb and him have had an exchange. Seb, 12th position. Burke, he's made up quite a few positions because of the issues for Alex and a few of these other racers. Ben the Bear now.
Oh, Finn! Finn's off and spinning, and he's managed to catch it just before the pit wall, but...
Tommy Tower is saying Ben the Bear is in second, but I can assure you he's still leading this race. And this Timing Tower isn't giving us a clear view as far as the timing is concerned, that's for sure. It's just trying to get... Maybe things are happening too fast for the coding to really get a clear picture. Who knows? That'll be the excuse. Lovely. But look at the downpour coming on the onboard of this Alfa Romeo. Get back, following along with Neon. Neon on the wheel. Normally on pad, he's made a transition. Seb, he's in the grass. He's in the grass.
He's got an end plate as well. Not ideal for the Renault.
He almost didn't look both ways before crossing the street there, but then again, it is a one-way street. Look at Finn going through on the inside.
God, I gotta say, Fraser has had a really nice start to this race. Obviously avoided the carnage at the start, but he had a really nice overtake on Neon as well in that opening lap. Now, sitting in 9th place, 7 places up from where he started. He had a 5-place grid penalty to contend with, but, well, he's got rid of that, and he's up 2 places from where he would have started. Freeway takes fastest lap behind Ben the Bear. Obviously, no DRS, and I shouldn't think we'll see it for a long time.
Mikau wheel to wheel with Burke Khan. Mikau around the outside. A good run into turn 1. Good braking from both of them. Get back has gone really deep here, and this has exposed him to Mikau. Mikau through on the inside into 11th, and this might even give the Racing Point the run coming out of turn 3. Whoa! Get back went so deep through turn 1. He had an issue getting traction back around on the inside of 2, and Mikau just said thank you very much into 11th, and that was very daring and very risky coming out of that McLaren, to say the least.
Jeff, I think turn 5 is an ice rink. I'm on board with Fraser. I watched Wavy have a little slip, and then Fraser did exactly the same thing. So I think turn 5 right now, obviously amongst other things, is just completely bogged down. Fraser's actually closing in on Wavy slowly but surely. He seems pretty confident in these conditions. He doesn't want to get overconfident though, but
well, speaking
he's
of
doing a nice job reeling him in.
Yeah, well, Alex Bideau on the rear of Burke Khan. Burke Khan's had a little bit of an issue. He got on a curb. His exit was appalling. And you can see the difference now as Alex Bideau, he gets out of that spray. Look at the difference. He's right on the rear. Oh, no spray. Gonna go around the outside. Burke, another horrid exit, and he's struggling. Alex Bideau in at 13th, and now you can see the spray coming out of that Ferrari on his onboard. Serious volley for position now in the back end of this field, and Bideau is now he's got a little bit of separation between him and ZZ9, and this is crucial for his battle for the championship. Shenjay's in 5th.
There goes Fraser, looking up the inside into turn 4 on Wavy, but there's really no way to put power down. A little bit of a light touch between the two, but clean enough that they can keep things going. But yeah, like you said, the battle for the championship would just continue straight on into Abu Dhabi, because ZZ9's the only person who can claim it here, and Alex now past Get Back, the Ferrari really climbing up this tower. But if ZZ9 wasn't to score around here, it would really open things up into Abu Dhabi, and if it was to finish like this, Shenjay would lead us into that final race. There's Neon off the track.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very consistent area that you can see issues for these racers. That is a hot spot for spins. Missing that front left end plate now. The AlphaTauri of Finn going through.
Now Ben takes fastest lap back from Mikkel. There's another yellow flag. This time it looks like it's Burke. But
Fraser has made it ahead of Wavy into turn 1. Will he be able to hold it?
ZZ9, his teammates looking for a move through the first turn as well, side by side with Get Back in the Alfa Romeo, and a nice exit from the Mercedes. Gets him 12th place.
Bideau, 2 seconds nearly the separation between him and ZZ9 right now, and that means Get Back cost him dearly.
Yeah, and they need to get back into, obviously now they're in 11th and 12th, so we could see them climb back into those point-scoring positions, and that would obviously mean everything for them in the championship run. But right now, Shenjie looking on top. He's fighting the car, but he looks so in control. And he is slowly closing in on Bottas again, but a little bit of a slide on the rear. He is really having to fight this car to keep it under control. And my eyes don't deceive me. I think the rain is starting to lessen here a little bit.
I was just going to chime in with that. I think the rain is starting to taper off a little bit. The drivers, I wonder at what point they maybe decide to come in for intermediates here. Mikau now on the outside of Wavy into turn 1. Wavy holding the inside. Through 2. Mikau has that inside line, and he holds 9th. Look at that front left tire. Wavy just taps it on the curb a tiny bit, trying to get an exit, trying to find traction, and you can see a complete loss of traction there. Seb coming in the chat, giving us a heads up as to what happened over in the Renault. No force feedback. Don't know how he didn't die right at the start. So sorry to hear that, Seb. That is a very unfortunate thing to have happen in the race, my friend.
Yeah, mechanical issues that are, out of your control. It's a horrid way to end a race. And hopefully, better luck for you in Abu Dhabi next week.
Bottas gang is just reeling in Domi. Domi's made a call to come in. Well, Freer and Domi have made a call. They're on the way in.
Shenjie, they're all coming in.
Intermediates. Finn, Neon at the rear of this grid have also made the call. Ditto. He's coming in. Wavy. I don't think Wavy got the memo. Either that or he didn't want to get double. Well, he wouldn't get double stacked. I was going to say, we don't have another Haas on the grid today. It's just Wavy. So, let's see what he's able to do on these wets. Bitto will have caught the double stack.
Yeah, but Alex didn't have, well, Bottas, like you said, stayed out, so no problem for him. Ben has stayed out as well, but obviously he and Bottas are now 10 seconds ahead, so you've got to imagine that they're going to come in at the end of this lap because the rain is really starting to die off. But at the same time, the track itself
it's still quite slick.
Still pretty damp.
Yeah. One thing to note, 5 drivers with 5 5-second penalties. Of course, let's take a look. Freeware, Shenjie, Bitto, ZZ9, and Mikau. All with 5-second penalties now. They will be able to serve those in the pits later. And that will make or break them, I'm sure, in the running. They don't want to have those at the end of the race. Mikau is going to be the first one here to take a 3-second penalty after multiple warnings. So he will not be too thrilled about this. If we know Mikau, he'll be quite annoyed with that, and he's just going to have to go head down and carry on through.
Yeah, now where is then the bear? It looks like the undercut might have worked for these drivers because Domi, obviously he has that penalty, but it looks like he might take lead of this race here. Ben the Bear coming out the pit lane is a pretty far way off of the 2 drivers ahead of him. Both Domi and Freeware have taken Ben the Bear. Here's Shenjie as well, now up into 4th place. He's got Bottas gang on the undercut.
Well, Bottas
so
gang,
very nicely done for him.
Well, he served a 5-second, if I'm not mistaken. Did he not?
I don't think he did. He stayed out.
Oh, he did stay out. You're right. I'm losing my marbles here. I was like, I thought for sure he had come in and it had double stacked Alex.
Yeah, I don't know if they're communicating.
My
Alex was, asked him to, can you stay out for another lap, or if he just followed Ben. But either way, the Ferrari did stay out, and it has gifted Shenjie another position. Now all 3 of the guys fighting for the championship. Neon's out.
He's had a crash into the wall. Big crash. It would seem he's out, and Bottas just took 3 seconds. So that's not good. We have a couple of drivers with 3-second time penalties now. Bottas gang and Mikau. Freeware fastest lap 1:17.582.
There's something else on this grid as well. Alex Bitto, ZZ9, they both climbed into the points. But look who is ahead of the Spaniard. Fraser,
Fraser.
teammate of ZZ9. He's not going to want to let Alex past here, not only for his own race, but also that gap between ZZ9 and Alex was 2 seconds. It's closing now, and I'm sure Fraser is going to just waiting to aid his teammate.
I believe we're only on lap 9.
Yeah, we've got a long way to go here.
This is a serious campaign these drivers have set themselves on, and you and I along for the ride. Vito, 5 seconds. ZZ9, I'm sure to Alex's absolute happiness, also has a 5-second penalty. Somewhat of a rarity for him. The driver's telling me ZZ9, he never gets penalties. And, well, he's got one right now. And it couldn't come at a better moment in this championship. But Alex, as we've said, he's got to deal with Fraser. But ZZ9 hasn't been able to catch up, so how long is Fraser going to realistically be able to hold up Alex Bitto here? Ben, a 117 flat, now the fastest lap, and this is one of the tightest fights on grid. Not too much doing right now. A little bit of tire differential at play. We're in a transitional phase, a little bit of a light drizzle. We are still expecting dry conditions in this race.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. I think it will probably be... The thing is, it depends at what point it comes, because if we see it towards the end of this race, you know, in the last 10 or so laps, then softs to the end is the answer. But if we see it, you know, in 10 laps or so, around, you know, lap 19 or 20, getting softs to the end from that point could be very, very difficult, especially if the setup you've chosen to sort of aid with the wets isn't quite going to aid tyre wear in the way that you want it. So I think we might see a few people try and gamble for the softs, and maybe see a few medium runners as well. And depending on where those people are on the grid, it could create a very, very interesting end to this race. And tyre strategy around here, it's going to be critical. It's going to be win or lose.
Definitely. Penalties, they're going to play a role, especially if those 3-second time penalties. We haven't had a safety car just yet. We're just approaching a third of the way through this race. We're in lap 11. Once we cross into lap 13, we'll be a third of the way through. And King, within a second of Bottas gang within a second of Shenjay, and this little train has... Well, Shenjay wants to start to catch up with Ben, but that's a fair challenge. Freeware within half a second of Domi. Domi with that penalty. Freeware's in a good position here. So is Ben. Potentially King in a good position. Remco needs to catch himself up into the equation, but he has no penalties either. And the thing is, when this DRS eventually comes into play, you look at this gap between Alex Bitto and ZZ9, it's no DRS for ZZ9, but Alex has been keeping Fraser in his crosshairs within that half a second to about 8/10 range. This is crucial, because if he's able to maintain DRS range on Fraser and keep ZZ9 at bay, as soon as that DRS comes in, Fraser's got a problem, because Fraser, he's 5 seconds away from Remco, and he's holding up this Ferrari massively.
Yeah, I think the gap right now it's just a little bit different. You can see that, you know, no one's in striking distance in this old train here. In fact, on the grid, I don't think anyone's in striking distance. But like you said, if this rain was to stop and the track was to dry out in 3 laps' time, then that situation changes. Although Alex seems to have had some sort of issue, or ZZ9 is just putting a stunning lap time, because he now is within that 1 second range.
I think he's had a bit of an issue here, because he's fallen out of...
No, I think it's ZZ9. He's burnt a load of battery off.
Oh, Alex,
I think ZZ9
has a little bit more battery. ZZ9's dumped his battery. Bitto has been getting held up by Fraser, and I think he's been fine with this. Look at his battery. 60% in comparison to that Merc.
I think ZZ9 is burning his battery, gonna catch up to Alex, and then is gonna... I'm imagining the two Mercedes, their teamwork is always stellar. So you've got to imagine ZZ9 right now is catching Alex, getting ready so that he is in striking distance, and then he's like, he's gonna ask Fraser, you know, I'm here, I'm ready, let me charge some battery back up. Look, he's already back up to 40% in that Mercedes, and when the time comes, he's just gonna blast past Alex, and then, well, the two Mercs can do the rest, try and tear away, but tearing away from Alex Bitter is not something that you can do easily. And I imagine Alex Bitter will have something to say on the matter as well.
Rain, it just hasn't stopped, though. It just hasn't stopped. We're now into we're a third of the way through this race. Tons of little battles forming.
Yeah, the track is drying. It's, you know, it's not still full wet. You can see there's no sort of big puddles on the edge. The track is no longer reflective. You can't see the fans in the grandstands on the tarmac anymore, but you can still see that there is, you know, spray coming off of the rear of these cars. Visibility is still a little bit limited, especially in certain parts and how close you are to the rear of the other car. But Ben is also catching the leaders of his, you know, 1 lap delayed pit stop. Didn't work out for him, and Domi and Freeway got the undercut on him.
Take a look here. Bottas Kang, he's just locked in right now within a second to Shenjie. They both got penalties. You've got less than 2 seconds separating the top 3 right now. Bido and ZZ9, it's still Bido keeping well, 50% battery. ZZ9 dancing around the same. He's a little bit lower right now. Ooh, Fraser. He's really waiting for Alex to kind of fall out of... I think he's just burning ERS as soon as he sees Alex close to that 1 second range, just to try and get him out, but he's trying to make Alex nervous.
Yeah, it could also be, you know, on the one hand, you've got, you know, Alex wants to conserve ERS to fight ZZ9, but now they're on equal terms because Fraser has pulled this gap out, so maybe Alex has just utilized a little bit more ERS than he'd like to try and keep up, and as a result, that's, you know, brought him back on level terms in terms of battery with ZZ9. So the Mercedes are currently sandwiching Alex on the 14th lap and have been for a little while now, really playing a strategic game to try and mess with the Ferrari and really give ZZ9 the best shot that he can at beating the Spaniard here. And well, Alex, he needs to outscore ZZ9 quite significantly to give him the best chance into Abu Dhabi. ZZ9, let's not forget, he is, you know, something like 12 points ahead of Alex, 13 points ahead in the championship. So he's really, you know, got the advantage here, because right now Alex will only outscore him by 1 point.
Yeah, it's... Alex Bido is in, I think, the toughest position here between ZZ9, Shenjie, and Bido. He's in the toughest position. Shenjie's in a fantastic position. He could potentially win this championship.
Yeah, this race, like I said, if it was to finish like this right now, would put Shenjie in the lead of it. He wouldn't, you know, run away with it this evening. ZZ9, the only person capable of confirming the championship here tonight, and it doesn't look as it stands
I think
like
it's
it's
out
going
of
to be
his
able
reach. I think it's it. You know what? I'm gonna call it right now. ZZ9 is not going to be winning the championship here in Brazil. We're going to Abu Dhabi to decide this title, and let's say if he does do it today, well, that would be a work of magic. Look at the gaps right now. Gap to leader. Let's take a look. He has 20 seconds with a 5-second penalty right now to the drivers ahead in front of him. I don't think he's getting it. If he does, it'd be a nice feat, but I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, the thing is, climbing from 10th to up the grid is one thing. Overtaking the drivers ahead of him. Just look at the names you've got on the list. You've got Alex Bido, you've got Fraser, you've got Remco Van Puyen, S-King, Bottas Gang, Shenjie, Ben, Freeway, and Domi. None of those people are going to be easy to overtake.
No.
Especially not around Brazil. So, like you said, if ZZ9 won the championship here today, it'd be one of the greatest drives we've ever seen. And who is that? Stopped on track. I think it's Finn having another problem. The AlphaTauri. He's on mediums.
Well, Wavy's gone onto the softs, and this is...
Well, the rain has stopped, but the track's still wet.
This is early. You can still see good spray coming off these cars. Well, Sector 3 is actually one of the drier sections of this circuit. And
Yeah,
you're still
one
seeing
or two
spray lift
laps.
off these tires. Let's see what Shenjay does here. Shenjay, Bottas, King, they're coming down now. Shenjay's going in. Bottas says, okay. Good luck with that.
Ooh. This is very interesting. This is exactly when I said it would be interesting, because I think you have to take mediums from here.
Well,
I don't think you can take softs.
No, definitely not. Fraser ahead of Bido. He's staying out. Bido's staying out. ZZ9, everyone's staying out. They know that it's a little early. Remco, however, this is tricky. Shenjay, he's going on to
Shenjay's on the
softs.
softs.
Oh my, this is unique. This is so unique. Remco Van Putten now, he's on to mediums just behind Shenjay.
No way you can take the 90.
That would be
well,
impressive.
DRS is enabled.
Oh, this might have just been the perfect timing. As soon as you see that DRS enabled by race control, it's a significant indicator that the circuit has begun to dry up significantly. And Bido, Domi all the way down to 9th with Mikau. Everyone's on these inters. And once these penalties get served, a lot of these drivers are going to be sitting in there for an additional 5 seconds. This is going to put Freeware, Ben the Bear, and King into your top 3 positions.
I think the 5-second penalty is
Actually,
is
Bottas
key
got
as well.
Bottas has a 3. So if he pits, he'll still retain a potential podium position, but actually, King, there was been a big lag with King. I jumped onto his car and there was some kind of issue. So Bottas gang, let's see what happens here with all these drivers now. Mediums for Freeware and Ben. Domi, he's serving that 5 seconds. Let's take a look. Mediums for him. Bottas gang, he's mediums. King, mediums. Oh man, Shenjay, the outlier here, and Fraser. Well, Fraser, you see, Fraser stayed out here, and I think he did that to keep Bido and Shenjay, or sorry, Bido and ZZ9 together. But Bido, he got double stacked. He got double stacked, and he served that penalty as well. This time, I'm almost positive he got double stacked.
Yeah, yeah, he has been. And I think that the thing here is that the penalties, it actually helped Shenjay in some aspects. I think he got another one though, so he will have to serve one in the next one. But because he had that penalty, it held him in the pit lane long enough for that DRS to be re-enabled and that track to dry out just that little bit more. So Shenjay, like I said, timed it perfectly. Here goes Ben going past Fraser, the intermediates. Definitely. Look how quickly this track has dried out here, Striff. The rain ended and within 2 laps were bone dry.
It's a quick lap around here with no rain coming down to keep things a little bit damp. It's not going to take too long with 14 drivers going around in, a minute and a half, minute and 15. Razor's come in now. He's taking 5 on the way in as well. That's not good for him. And I want to take our attention to Alex Bido just for a brief moment, because now the gap between him and ZZ9, it went from being less than a second on the way into the pit lane to being now just shy of 5. They both served 5-second penalties. The difference being Alex Bido, he came in on the rear of Bottas gang. ZZ9, he didn't have any traffic ahead of him. Fraser opted to stay out, and he's actually going to come out, he's going to come out just near these drivers.
Yeah, but I don't think he had the 5 second to deal with. I think he's got a 3 second there. He's actually got 8 seconds.
5 seconds or not, he'd just be sitting behind Bido, because the double stack is going to lose you more time than coming in a lap later.
The thing is here, that's interesting, Striff, is that ZZ9 and Alex Bido, they got 5 seconds between them now. They're in 9th and 10th. Who are they fighting in the championship? Shenjay, and Shenjay is in 4th place right now. You may think he's out of reach, but he's on softs. I don't think he can take these to the end. Plus, he's got a 5-second penalty, which I think he picked up on his way in to the last pit stop, where he'd already served 1 5 second. So he's going to serve 10 seconds when he comes back into this pit lane, because I really don't think he's going to be able to take these tyres all the way to the end. If he does, I'll be very surprised. And he might try. I think the option might be there for him to try, but by the time he gets there, you're going to be in puncture territory. Plus the tyres are going to be old, and he's going to have 5 seconds off his race time at the end. This is going to go completely, not only down to the wire of this race, but I think you're right. There's no way we don't take the championship to Abu Dhabi.
I definitely don't think there's any way we go to Abu Dhabi with this championship. With Freeware now in the lead of this race, with Ben the Bear on his rear. Fastest lap right now, Mikau, 1:10.497. He takes that away from Bottas gang, just shy of 2 hundredths, excuse me. Wavy comes through 110.254, and you can see now things are really starting to speed up on this grid. Mikau within half a second of Alex Bido, and Alex Bido won't be too thrilled about that. Mikau, very quick driver. The one thing I will say about Shenjie with these tires is the last time you and I watched Shenjie around Brazil with Ben the Pair in the lead, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to have to find that replay. But he did a very long stint in that race as well to the end of the race. I think it's what ended up costing him the win. So he could be tempting fate here once again. 4.3 seconds the gap to the podium at the moment, but really, realistically, all he needs to do is outscore ZZ9 by the differential, and he's in lead of this championship heading into Abu Dhabi. You know, no one's winning. I don't think anyone's winning this champion. Well, the only one that can win it is ZZ9, and I don't think that's happening today.
Well, Striff, the one, you know, ZZ9, the one they say is impossible to get penalties out of it, has just picked up a 3 seconds, and that's music to Alex's ears. He's behind him, no penalties to his name. Shenjie has that 5 seconds, but now 3 seconds with ZZ9. That changes us a lot again, so... And Neon in the chat as well, obviously he has sadly retired from this race, but he's saying that Shenjie can take those tyres to the end. So... Big news, Ben the Bear, 109.2, he takes fastest lap, and he's looking to hunt down Freeware. Like I said, he could still finish this championship being the most, you know, the driver who's been on that top spot the most, even with his bad luck with connection issues that have been throughout the season. If he wins today's race, he will take, you know, he will be the person with the most wins, and then I believe it's only Shenjie who could tie him for 6 race wins this season if he wins in Abu Dhabi, and at that point I would tie the take the championship. So
Mikau's hunting down Alex Bido here. Sorry to interrupt you there, Unicorn. Bido's had a little bit of a shake coming out through 2. Now coming out of turn 3, DRS enabled for these racers. Let's see what the run is like for Mikau, the Australian. Does he get the move down in the inside of turn 4? He's alongside. There's been contact. Alex Bido's gone into the wall. He's crashed. This has been a major crash. He's actually tapped and had contact with Mikau. VSC has been deployed as a result, and Wavy is going to have the front row seat to this. Not entirely sure what's happened there with Alex Bido, but I can tell you one thing. I think that's just ended his championship.
Well, it's not... I don't think it's ended it, but it's pretty much made it... If Shenjie scores points and finishes in 4th now, pretty much makes it impossible for Alex Bido to beat Shenjie in Abu Dhabi, but that is so unfortunate for Alex. And it, like you say, it might have just made this championship rivalry a 2-horse race.
Looking at Remco, same corner, around the outside, a little bit of contact there.
We've seen Remco do strong defensive drives all season long. Mexico, he was really holding people up around that track, even on the older, harder tyres. And now S King is going to have to try and deal with Remco here around Brazil, a track that's already infamous for being difficult to overtake, at least through many parts of the circuit.
Oh, I don't think Remco has much of a chance right now. To the outside for the racing point. A big lunge, late on the brakes from Remco. We've seen his defensive ability in Mexico. We haven't had a chance to see it too much here in Brazil. DRS now once again for the Red Bull. Hunting here. To the outside for him. Does he get this move through 4? Oh, wow. He took a penalty on the curb. 3 seconds, but he got ahead. Was it enough? A little bit of contact. Ooh. That was very, very touch and go.
Yeah, touch and go indeed. And this time it's just, you know, this slows both of them down. And This is good news for Shenjie because Bottas gang hunting him down, but Shenjie's got that 5 seconds. Remco has 3 seconds of his own, but S King doesn't have any penalties, so Shenjie will be happy that he's getting slowed up, and that makes it less likely that he'll drop below 5th at the end of this race if Bottas gang is able to hold on to the gap he has now, or even find a way past. He could find himself beating Shenjie quite easily towards the end of this race, especially with the softs dying off towards the end of the race.
King on Remco, Bottas gang on Shenjie. 11 seconds separating these two battles on the grid right now, and ZZ9 is within half a second of Fraser. Question is, are we going to see Fraser just let ZZ9 through here, give him the most points possible? I think we are. So now Fraser in 9th position.
Yeah, I don't think ZZ9 will, complain, and he really does need as many points as he can get. It would be a struggle, but this battle between Remco and S King could give ZZ9 the opportunity he's looking for. It would really close him up into, stopping Shenjie from having such a huge points advantage going in to the final race next week. Ben takes another fastest lap. He's still behind Freeware though. The gap just over a second, so no DRS for Ben at the moment, but the Red Bull, he'll be looking for it soon.
King now around the outside into turn 1. Does Remco have enough? Oh, he gets on the brakes just enough to get King stuck behind him once again. What does he have for turn 4 though? Big snap out from King to the outside. DRS in utilization as well, of course, and this is going to put Remco on the back foot now in 7th. And this gap, the gap between, of course, ZZ9 and Fraser, if these two continue to fight like this, it's going to start to fall.
Yeah, ZZ9's caught about half a second in a lap or two, so he's really hunting for it. He needs these points, and well, those points would be very, very useful for him in this championship. They wouldn't, well, they might even keep him ahead. Could even draw a tie here, depending on how many he gets. Shenjie, he's on for 10 or 12 here. So ZZ9 was able to pick up, 6 points. That would be very, very useful for him to halve the amount of points Shenjie gets against in this race.
Remco now around the outside of turn 4. We've seen him do this before. He took a penalty the last time. King holds it. King didn't do that last time, so maybe it was Remco. Oh, look at the battery for both of these drivers. They're both dancing around the exact same amount.
Yeah, Remco, I think the battery there is the key. I think he used a lot of it, getting past, defending, retaking the position from the racing point, and now he's exhausted it a little bit, and that's costing him here, and then almost a snap out of the rear for him, and that's not going to help him either into the run down. Bottas getting sets fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, I think
obviously
he's in attack
still
mode.
DRS on Shenjie.
I think this might be the run he needs here. He had a very good run into turn 1. He had a decent exit, but he's not utilizing any of that battery.
He didn't get a run out of turn 3.
Remco, this chance now out of turn 3. King. These two have been doing the dance. You see, Shenjie and Bottas gang, they've been locked together, whereas Remco and King, they've been going back and forth, and there it goes again. There's another change between the two. Remco through out of 4 in to 6th position. Neatly done.
Yeah, I think we're going to see those two exchange, and ZZ9 is really catching them now.
Yeah, he is.
The gap between him and Fraser's extending a bit, but obviously he's not really fighting him. Those guys, they just want points, and for the constructors, and Fraser's happy to let his teammate go get as many as he can for the team, as well as his own championship drive.
Well, Bottas gang now DRS. Does he have the lunge into turn 1? Does he go for it? He does. He's on the inside. Shenjie Squeezing him ever so tight right now. This could compromise his exit out of 3. He will have DRS, and he is very tight, within 3/10 of that Alfa Romeo. DRS on the rear wing for the Ferrari. Does he look and go down the inside? No. He does not. Not yet. Freeware's just taken 3 seconds, excuse me, after multiple warnings. And that has cost him dearly. He's leading Ben the Bear, and until now, he didn't have penalties. Now he's got 3 seconds. Domi, 5 seconds. Shenjay, 5 seconds. Bottas Gang, 8 seconds. Remco Van Putten, 3 seconds. Look at the penalties on these drivers.
Yeah, Freeware. He was
Oh, Bottas Gang! He's had a shake coming out of... Oh, no. He's just lost his front right end plate, and this is going to cost him dearly.
Well, that's exactly what Shenjay wants. Well, Bottas Gang's actually picked up a fair amount of penalties over the last few laps, so he no longer has the penalty advantage over Shenjay, and now into the pit lane. Is this for a wing change? Will wing change and softs potentially?
Survey penalty as well. 5 seconds.
Yeah, S-King and Remco exchanging once more. S-King was up the inside, now Remco, a little bit of a tap at the rear. S-King just about holds it, and Remco still putting as much pressure on that racing point as he can. Now out of turn 3, he's got the drive, he's got the DRS. S-King not using any ERS to defend this. He's happy to let Remco have the move here. He's got the advantage of battery, and Remco now with a fuel light as well. Now the drive out of turn 5, ERS in full utilization. That is beautifully retaken by S-King, who takes it very convincingly back through turn 6. Takes a nice racing line as well to just stop any chance of Remco coming side by side through sector 2. Really nicely done from the Racing Point driver.
He's having a fantastic he's having a fantastic battle with Remco. And that was just a very nice move, very patient, thought out move. He's holding 5th right now. He's battling with Remco. Less than a second the gap right now, but ZZ9, he's there. He's here now. This fighting has cost them overall. And ZZ9, he's just been on a charge. He's got DRS, and now Remco still looking at King once again. And Ben the Bear, he's within half a second of Freeware. We're going to have to jump on with that in just a moment, because that's a battle for lead of this race. And DRS now on King. Remco, he's got no battery at the moment. King, he doesn't have too much either. ZZ9, he's got a little bit more than the both of them.
Yeah, I was about to mention Ben and Freeware. Freeware, really nice coming out into the 3rd sector. Has actually pulled away from Ben just a little bit, but Ben really reeled himself in between turn 3 and 4 in the DRS zone on the last lap. This time, reeling himself back in down towards turn 1. I don't know if he's going to be close enough. The run out of turn 3 is critical, but remember, he doesn't actually need to beat Freeware on track right now. He has got the penalty advantage, but obviously getting him on track would, secure it. And if he did get penalties, it would save him. He looks up the inside, threatens the move on Freeware, doesn't get it, and, well, no point of risking it right now. Remco has been passed by ZZ9.
Yeah, that's crucial for ZZ9 right now. Absolutely crucial. Penalty difference between him and Shenjay. I mean, Shenjay's got 5 seconds. His gap to Domi is 5 seconds, but Domi's also got 5 seconds in penalties. So this is... They're literally not going anywhere. That'll bring King within a good range. But I don't know if it'll be enough. ZZ9 needs to get through King, and he needs to cut down that gap a little bit in order to really secure some points. Macau,
yeah,
Fraser.
I don't know if ZZ9 can beat King.
Macau in 8th right now. Fraser, 11 seconds in penalties. Not looking too good for him with the penalties.
Unless King picks up a 3-second time penalty, I don't see ZZ9 beating him with that 3 seconds. I don't see him getting past and finding that time. Freeware now has lost the lead of this race to Ben the Bear. Ben sneaking up the inside into turn 4 and has finally got lead of this race on track. He's got it on penalties as well, but he really wants to confirm it. He wants to prove that he could have won this championship had, His luck been a bit better in these early stages. He hadn't had those disconnects, hadn't had those races where his ending was, just so unfortunate. But now, looking to take his 6th win, I do believe, of the season, more than anyone else.
If Fraser has an answer to Mikau here, just for fighting purposes.
Well, on the same amount of battery, Fraser's on, he doesn't have a lot of fuel left in that car, it would seem. And a big aggressive sort of snap from the Mercedes as well. It's going to cost him time to that McLaren. You can see now Mikau just pulling away, really making it difficult.
I have to say the weather in this race really went from 100 to 0 in the reference to the full wet conditions, now intermediate conditions, and then now dry conditions.
Alex in the chat saying if ZZ9 gets 4th, it's over for him. And I think he's going to be safe from that outcome here, but it's not going to be close. But I think the possibility for Alex will still be there for Abu Dhabi, but very, very tough. He'll have his work cut out for him, and I think he pretty much needs Shenji and ZZ9 to finish out of the points in that race, which, again, that seems unlikely as well, but it's not over until it's over, and we said it in the early stages of this race that we didn't think ZZ9 would be able to close the championship. That does appear to be the case, and it does look like, well, Shenji will be leading us into Abu Dhabi. Oh, actually, I think now with ZZ9 climbing through the points,
I think it might be still ZZ9.
Yeah, I think ZZ9. We'll do the maths before we end the stream. But I think ZZ9 might actually... Obviously, there's still another lap and a half to go for most of these races, so opportunities change. So let's have a look.
Now, just less than 3/10 ahead of ZZ9, and of course King, I have to say, he's had a very, very good drive here because he's got no penalties, and the Bear also no penalties. Started this race on pole. He's in lead at things, nearly a second away from Freeway right now. A lot of winners though on this grid, making up some positions in this race. When you look at it, Freeway up 1, Domi up 3, Shenji up 1, King up 3. ZZ9 has made up a position from where he began, so all is not lost in this one. Remco Van Putten up 4, Mikau up 1, Fraser up 7. Bottas has had an unfortunate race. Wavy down a position. Finn's made up 3. Bido down 9 with that retirement. Of course, that's not how he wanted this race to go at all. But we are now on the final lap of contention here for the 21st round of Club Division, and it has been the Bear leading things in that Red Bull.
Yeah, and I have just done the maths. If Shenji finishes 4th, ZZ9 finishes 6th, ZZ9 will lead Shenji by 2 points going into the final round.
2 points.
Yeah, pretty much means if they finish in the points, they're only... And Shenji finishes ahead, unless they finished 9th and 10th. Shenji...
There goes Ben.
Freeway...
That's
a timing tower bug.
It's a timing tower bug, I do believe, yeah. So Ben the Bear takes the win. Freeware second. Domi will be 3rd here. Shenji crossing the line. He should be 4th. Yeah, Ben the Bear dropping all the way down the grid. So there's a major, major timing tower problem. But that... oh,
there we go.
Or not.
It's fixed itself now.
Well, Ben the Bear with the race win here in Brazil. Freeware P2 for the AlphaTauri, and it's the Williams in 3rd, Shenji 4th, King in 5th. What a race that was. Started off full wet, went to inters, went to dry. We have clear skies now here around Sao Paulo, and Remco 7th there. Mikal, Bottas gang, Fraser rounding out your points finishers here. What a unique race, a dynamic race, a strategical thriller.
Yeah, that really was. Fraser picking up driver of the day there, and, well, you know, the 5-race grid penalty didn't really phase him there. He gained 7 places on the first lap, but Ben the Bear, you got to hand it to him. Maybe without those penalties, it would have been a bit more of a struggle for him, because that overcut didn't really work on the switch from, was it, I believe it was wet to inters, or was it inters to mediums? Either way, he had to fight his way back past freeware, but he would have won on penalties regardless, but he did take it on track, and now becomes the person who's won the most races here in the club division.
A nice statistic to have. Of course, yes, once again, from pole position to the race victory, Ben the Bear in the Red Bull, Freeware from 3rd to 2nd in the AlphaTauri, Domi from 6th to 3rd, nice drive from him, Shenjie 5th to 4th, King 8th to 5th, ZZ9 7th to 6th, Remco Van Putten 11th to 7th, 9th to 8th for Mikal, 2nd unfortunately to 9th for Bottas gang, but he still gets some points for Ferrari. Fraser rounds out the top 10 points finishers here, 16th to 10th for that Mercedes. Bido, they're in 13th position on the timing tower, unfortunately starting in 4th, retiring after an issue coming out of turn 4 with the McLaren of Mikal. Stewards will review, I'm sure, should the drivers report it. Wavy, 11th, Finn 12th, yes, Bido 13th, Get Back 14th, Neon 15th, Burkicon 16th, and Steb 17th due to some kind of error with his gear. His wheel of some kind, or no force feedback. Now, with all of that being done and dusted, that wraps up Brazil racing for season 3. Next week, we have one more round of MRL action. That's 5 races around the Yas Marina circuit. That is, of course, Abu Dhabi. Tomorrow at 11 p.m. GMT, we have a 100% distance race around Abu Dhabi to round out the Endurance Series and the Formula 1 2020 World Championship season. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Unicorn and I will be commentating for that. We are going to be rating a member of the F1 stream community in just one moment, so we hope you hang with us for that. But Unicorn, why don't you talk us through that race for a few moments here while I find someone to raid?
Yeah, that was really quite something. So, just that, you know, we've said it, that wet weather dynamic was just insane to see it go from wet to inters to dries, and, you know, to see the drivers try and manage that as well. It's obviously a setup choice as well. The two Mercedes sandwiching Alex better, and then obviously Alex, he broke free for a time being, but then that little battle with Mikal cost him the race in the end, unfortunately. No, retiring, and that his championship hopes aren't out of this, but his work is really going to be cut out for him next week. ZZ9 and Shenjie, though, will go head-to-head. 2 points separate them, if my math is correct, in to the final round. So pretty much whoever beats the other in that race, provided they finish in the top 8, will walk away with it, I do believe. And, well, Shenjie, he's got more wins than ZZ9 so far. Both have been on the podium 10 times this season, neither making it on there this evening, but it's going to be a very, very interesting showdown into next week. Tonight was nothing short of just pure drama with that wet weather and all the 5-second penalties, the servings, you know. Alex Bitter as well, you got to imagine that maybe his race would have been different if he hadn't got double stacked in that second pit stop. So a lot of things, a lot of different aspects shaping that race into what we saw, but what we saw was a very, very entertaining and a very, very fun race to watch and commentate. And I imagine next week all 5 races will be like that. But club division, especially the tension going into that, especially for Shenjie and ZZ9, as well as a few other drivers who are fighting for positions elsewhere in that drivers' championships. It'd be very, very interesting to see how that all unfolds next week.
For sure, for sure. That wraps it up for us. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. That was the first really full wet start to the race we've had, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was a little bit of drama. Thank you, everybody, so much for all the follows, the subs, the hosts, and all the support, as always. We are going to finish out with that for this evening. We're going to hit you with the outro. We're going to head on over and say hello to a very, very nice guy. His name's Alex Budd. We hope you'll join us with that raid. And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, for the Endurance Series. Have a great night, guys.